New headphones. Um, this is episode 17. Um, but today's rundown is going to start with the NFL, the NBA, NCAA men's basketball, and then end it off with NASCAR. Dad might join. I don't know. He's watching Chicago Fire. But yeah, the NFL is currently in the middle of free agencies and trades. So I'll go ahead and read off some of the bigger moves of this offseason. So Alec Pierce is staying in Indiana. I think he had a 4-year deal there. I can probably pull it up here. All right, got the live tracker here. We'll just pull up Schefter straight up then. All right. So yeah, if I can find it, it's gonna be this segment could either take a while or not. One of the two. Um, Here it is. Alec Pierce is returning. Top free agent. Returning with a 4-year, $116 million deal. That was announced on the Pat McAfee show. Um, and then Kenneth Walker has has put us is really just made the entire all of us feel terrible. But he went to the he went to Kansas City. Kenneth Walker signed with Kansas City. Don't know or have the details on that, on the money or how long it is, but not good. And then Tua Tagovailoa gets released by the Dolphins, and the Dolphins pick up Malik Willis. I think he was the top rated quarterback in this class. And then Tua signed a 1-year deal with Atlanta. Isaiah Likely and another Raven. I couldn't find his name. It was the punter, I think. But they both went to the Giants and followed um, Harbaugh to New York. Then Travis Etienne went from Jacksonville to New Orleans. So and then it's developing news that Alvin Kamara um, might leave New Orleans. Um, Mike Evans also is expected to go to San Francisco. Then Wandale Robinson went to the Titans, so that's good for the Titans. We now have number one, a decent number one wideout. Travis Kelsey signs a 1-year extension with the Chiefs, and then Rashid Shaheed is staying in Seattle, and then Khalil Mack is staying with the Chargers. George Pickens was then franchise tagged by the Cowboys, and then Daniel Jones was also franchise tagged. Um, and then the Commanders extended Laramie Tunsil to a 2-year, $60 million deal. There were some trades that went on. Michael Pittman earlier today got traded to the Steelers. And then probably the biggest trade, Max Crosby gets sent to the Raiders for only 2 first-round picks. Which is crazy. Max Crosby has been one of the best edge rushers in the last 5 years of the NFL with Micah Parsons, T.J. Watt, with Micah Parsons, Watt, and Garrett, and then now he's heading over to Baltimore, which is good for him. He's now in a contender. And then DJ Moore gets traded to Buffalo. Josh Allen's probably happy about that, but Buffalo gets DJ Moore in a 5th-round pick and then Chicago gets a 2026 second-round pick. And then Trent McDuffie gets sent to the Rams. Rams get Trent McDuffie, and then the Chiefs get a 2026 first, 5th, and 6th-round pick, and a 2027 third. So that's a lot of moves that have gone on here in the NFL. If I wanted to go through all of these, A, it would take me forever to write the script, and B, um, this segment would probably take a while and it'd just be me reading off just stuff to you guys about what happened today. Although my Titans have signed 2 or 3 players out of this free agency already. Like I mentioned earlier, Rondell, and then they sign Saints corner Alontae Taylor on a 3-year, $60 million deal. So using that 100 million in salary cap to their advantage, I think the Titans also, I believe the Titans also signed a offensive lineman, and then Reed Blankenship goes to the Houston Texans on a 3-year, $24 million deal. As of right now, the Reed Blankenship thing only is the most recent news to come out from Adam Schefter at ESPN. All right. And then heading over to the NBA, this draft might be taking a hit off some news that have happened. Darren Peterson has said he might stay another year, and so is AJ DeBonsta. AJ has said he'll talk to his mom about it. Haven't heard anything on Darren. I would say injuries and probably all the stuff that has been coming out about him. And then Shea closing in on Wilt's record, just tied Wilt's record on most consecutive 20 plus point games in NBA history, which is really impressive, honestly. Quick little score rundown for the NBA before I get on to some recent news. Right, so right now going on, the Nuggets are playing the Thunder. Thunder are leading that one 116-111. Shea with 27 points, 9 boards, and 14 assists. And then Jokic with his average triple-double of 23 points, 13 rebounds, and 12 assists. The Warriors and the Jazz are tied right now. Knicks play the Clippers later tonight. The Cavs beat the 76ers, and then the Grizzlies lose to the Nets. So some recent news that have come out from the NBA is that Jason Tatum is back, and the Celtics are still right now with how Detroit's been playing. I would not be surprised if the Celtics snag that 1 seed. Detroit right now 45-18 on a losing streak of 4 right now, and are 5-5 in their last 10. And then Boston, after getting probably their best player back in Jason Tatum, are right now 43-21, 2.5 games behind Detroit on a current winning streak of 2, and are 8-2 in their last 10. Now, I think it was the last episode, I believe, we talked about how close the it was to be second in in the East, but that spot has really opened up. Boston is now 2.5 games ahead of New York, but Cleveland and New York are still right there for that third spot. If Toronto does something crazy, maybe Toronto can sneak up there into the third, but I would say that the 1 and 2 spots will either be Detroit and Boston, or Boston and Detroit for first in the East. That's really a toss up there. And then OKC is back to normal. A lot of stars for them have just came off injury, SGA being one of them. OKC is on a 5-game winning streak, 8-2 in their last 10. Um, so Oklahoma City can either close that back up, or they can either try to extend their lead, or will San Antonio stay hot? Because San Antonio have been red hot since All Star. They have only lost one game since the All Star break. Didn't lose a single game in the month of February. I believe they are the only team in NBA history to do that. And they are 9-1 in their last 10, currently on a win streak of 4. So everywhere else in the East, those last little playoff spots, 3rd through 6, are currently a shootout. As Minnesota and Denver, all that's within a game of each other. Minnesota's at 9.5, Denver's at 10.5, tied with the Lakers at 10.5, and then Houston's at 10 games right there in the 4th seed. So right now, Houston, Denver, and the Lakers are all a little shaky right there. In their last 10, Houston is 6-4, LA is 6-4, and then Denver is 5-5. And then the Suns are trying to sneak their way in there and out of the play-in. It looks like this is Phoenix. They're only 12.5 games behind, 2 games behind Denver, and they've been quiet all season. But it looks like at least the playoff side of things for the West is set. The next team out of the play-in tournament is the Grizzlies. They're 26 games behind, and Portland's only 19. So I think the 10 that are in there are who will remain the 10. Same thing for the East too, by how Charlotte's playing. So it's looking like the 10 total teams that will not make playoffs will be Memphis, Dallas, New Orleans, Utah, Sacramento, Indiana, Washington, Brooklyn, Chicago, and Milwaukee. Are all not going to make playoffs, it looks like, this year. And then, as I've mentioned earlier, Darren Peterson and AJ DeBonsa both said they might stay in college one more year. Both of them are number 1, number 2 in this draft class. It's looking like, with Boozer and how he's been playing, which is crazy for a lot of these teams. And I could understand Peterson, but I don't know about the bands. That's how all the things work over there, for how they do stuff. I'm gonna try to go quick through this, because I am tired and I went through the hiccups today, so my throat's just done. So going on to the NCAA, this week every team should play their last game of the season, because we're already down to 31 games, and March is upon us. Selection Sunday, I believe, is this Sunday. So conference tournaments are going to be going on. And then Wednesday, April 8th is National Championship Day. Get back here to Monday, Sunday. Let's see. Big games. Number 3, Michigan being number 8, Michigan State. Okay, so Caleb Wilson is out for the year. Originally hurt his wrist, had to get surgery on his wrist, got surgery on his wrist, comes back, breaks his thumb in practice on a non-contact injury, has to get surgery on his thumb. So now Duke is without their star player through March. A lot of people were saying with Caleb Wilson, Duke is a Sweet 16 team at best, or at worst, or one of the two. And now people are questioning if they'll even make it out of the round of 64 without Wilson, which hurts them a lot. Playing number 1 Duke, of course, at Duke does not help at all. So they lost that game 76-61. UConn does get upset by Marquette. Marquette with a 68-62 victory. Right there. And then Wisconsin upsets Purdue. Wisconsin with two big wins over Michigan and Purdue this season. And then George Mason with the upset on number 25 ranked St. Louis, beat them by 29. Not what a lot of these teams are wanting with it being March. Miami, Ohio goes a perfect 31-0. I know a lot of people are being a little high with Miami, Ohio. I just don't. I'm not fully confident in them on making a crazy run in March. I'm not sure. Just when I've looked at their schedule, and they've beaten. Ohio was a 15-15 team, and they went into like double overtime with them. Um, I know a lot of people are high on Miami, Ohio. It's cool to see a team like this, but it's the competition, how well they've been in this competition before. Their last three games, Western Michigan, Toledo, and Ohio, all MAC teams, they beat all these teams by one score. I think and most of it was in overtime. Um, I think we talked about this when I had my uncle on the show last week. We're just not I'm not confident um with them. Um there's too many close games they played. They haven't played a single ranked opponent all year. Um which is interesting, you know. I believe except for like St. Louis and St. Mary's, every other team in the current rankings has played another ranked team. Um Let me see. St. Mary's played Vanderbilt, lost to them 96-71. Lost 73-65 to Gonzaga. That was St. Mary's. And then St. Louis got dropped. Okay. So again, I don't know about Miami, Ohio. They're only 20th in the rankings, which is fair because they don't have anything to show being above 20 probably. But it's going to be interesting watching Miami, Ohio in March this season. Any other big games? No other big games. I can look at St. Louis when they were ranked at the time. Yeah, St. Louis did not play a single ranked opponent all year. Lost to Stanford by one. Lost to Rhode Island and George Mason. So you just don't know with those smaller teams. Will they go crazy or will they not? Um, Number 9 Nebraska last Tuesday lost to UCLA, and then TCU beat Texas Tech. So there was a lot of shakeups in the last week or so of March, of the season. Um, Duke is still number 1 though in the rankings. No one's probably on the level that Duke, Arizona, and Michigan are on. Um, all three of those teams have a record of 29-2. Um, one of those three will win the Natty. I think it'll be Duke, but it's insane that's going on right now. A lot of crazy stuff as March comes down to it. Championship week should begin soon. Um, with a lot of brackets starting soon. But few teams have already been locked into March Madness. The only one that I've known that I've heard of so far is North Dakota State. Um, so other teams that have a 99.9% chance to make it are UConn, Gonzaga, St. Mary's, Purdue, Houston, Duke, North Carolina, and Georgia. Um, so the ACC has six. Duke, Virginia. These are key locks. Duke, Virginia, North Carolina, Louisville, Miami, Florida, Clemson, and NC State is likely. But the Big Ten has 8 teams leading all of them. Every conference with Illinois, Nebraska, Michigan, Michigan State, Purdue, Wisconsin, Iowa, and UCLA. The SEC has 7 with Florida, Alabama, Vanderbilt, Tennessee, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Georgia. The Big 12 have 6 with Arizona, Iowa State, Houston, Kansas, Texas Tech, and BYU. The Big East has UConn and St. John's and Villanova. Um, Other teams, so teams that are in danger and might miss it right now are New Mexico, Texas A&M, Texas, Missouri, and Oklahoma. Those teams were fighting for spots, currently are fighting for spots. So depending on what they do in their respective tournaments, they might be able to get into March Madness this season and try to sneak in there, try to be one of those first 4 in possibly. Um, Moving on to NASCAR. Um, Ryan Blaney just dominates the day. I think Dad read a stat to me where um, Dad ran Dad led read a stat to me that Blaney has passed a combined of 49 cars that on the race. Him and Christopher Bell were just the 2 cars of the day, really. Bell led the most laps with 176. Blaney only led 28. Ty Gibbs ran strong at the end too. 2311 cars finish in the top 10 again with Tyler Reddick and Bubba Wallace. And then in the latest standings, Reddick is still first. Bubba Wallace and Chase Elliott both dropped down a spot. But right now, Tyler Reddick is still running away with points, of course, when you win the first 3 races. But right now, Bubba Wallace, Ryan Blaney, and Tyler Reddick are all separating themselves. The closest car to him is Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott sitting at 128 points, Bubba at 153, Blaney at 165, and then Reddick at 225. Reddick has a top 10 in all 4 races up to this point. And then with the latest race, Christopher Bell now has the most laps led out of anybody with 194. The top 3 in laps led are Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, and Joey Logano. Those are your top 3 in laps led this season. Just outside of that is Bubba Wallace with 86. So there's standings are being shaken, and then in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, Justin Allgaier will win that race. Jesse Love with a great race as well. But one thing that stuck out to me is Rajah Caruth, and was mainly Rajah Caruth. He, like we said, he does drive for Junior, but he is sharing that ride with the 4 Hendrick guys, and a Hendrick guy raced in this week's Xfinity race, being William Byron. But Caruth started 25th in a Jordan Anderson car, led a lap, and finished 8th in the race, which Jordan Anderson, his cars sometimes ain't really the best. But I thought it was just crazy. That's one thing that did stick out to me, was how he was able to get up there into the top 10 and he's only a rookie. This is his first year in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series. Why did oh, it's because they threw up a. Go away. All right, trying to look at the O'Reilly Auto Parts stuff, but it's not letting me. There we go. And Carruth is 7th right now in the points for the O'Reilly Auto Parts series, which is insane to me. It's not a lot of guys are able to do that right away. It's hard to be a rookie in NASCAR's better series like that. And now there is worry right now around Alex Bowman. He's the 4th guy on the he is the 4th guy on Hendrick, and he only has 7 points to his name 4 races into the season. A lot of people are saying that if he does not win a race this year, then he is kicked out of the oh, excuse me, he only has 23 points to his name. I read his stage points. But a lot of people are saying that Bowman will probably get kicked out of the 48 this year because in the offseason they got him an entire new crew. It's new tire changers, new fuel guy, new crew chief, all of it for Bowman. The only thing that is the same is the number on the side of the door and the driver. And Bowman, he had to miss Phoenix though with got diagnosed with some head injury, so not good for him, and definitely not what he needs this year because it's looking like he might not be in the 48 next year. So I'm saying either I don't know, Carson Hocevar might go in there. I don't know, Carson Hocevar, probably not a Zilich, but I think Carson Hocevar will probably go in there. I say what they could do is either bring Austin Hill or Jesse Love up, put one of those two in the 77, and then or if they wanted to, just bring Raja straight up into the 77. Whatever they, I don't know how all of it works, but whatever they need to do or want to do, they could put someone else in 77 and send Bowman down. Because I don't think Bowman has won a race. And let's see. Alex Bowman has not won a race in, let's see, it's loading, since July 7th, 2024. Before that, he won. Before that, his last win was in 2022, and then he had, let's see here, 3 wins in 2021. And then 1 win in 2020, and then another win in 2019. But still, this will be 2 years. July 7th will mark 2 years since this guy has won a race. Since and he's in a Hendrick car. It's very hard to see a Hendrick car do that. And then every year since last year, 2025 and 2024, and in 2025, his other teammates all won a race. Larson, Byron, and Elliott. And I don't think Bowman even made playoffs last year. And all 4 Hendrick drivers made playoffs last year, I believe. And Bowman was out first round. Byron and who else? Byron and Larson made it to the championship 4, and then Elliott made it to the round of 8. So a lot of people are noticing that in the 48 of Alex Bowman barely made the playoffs. So I'm saying I think after this year, Bowman does not win a race. He gets kicked out of the 48. They put a Carson Hocevar in there. They probably put Hocevar in there, and they either put Bowman into the 48, or no, Bowman into the 77, or they send him down to the O'Reilly Auto Parts series and they put either Jesse Love or Austin Hill in the 77, or they put Carwith in the 77. I don't know. But I think there'll be a different guy in the 48 in 2027. I think Bowman's been in there ever since Jimmy retired, so since the 2021 season. So in 6 years of being in that car, let's see if I can pull back his stats. So yeah, he won 5 races in 6 years in that 48 car, but all of those wins came within 3 years, 2021, 2022, and 2024. So that will go 3 years with a win, 3 years without a win, 2023, 2025, and possibly 2026 for Alex Bowman, um, which is going to hurt him, which does not look good for your resume as a Hendrick driver. Um, it's it hurts to see that because Bowman was promising, was a good driver, but I a lot of people know me as a Alex Bowman hater, and it's it's terrible to see really. When a guy like this had a quick rise through NASCAR and it's already falling all falling apart. Um, but that's unfortunately how NASCAR works. But and it's really hard. You have to keep up a good resume to be a Hendrick driver. Look at Larson for example. Ever since he came back in 2021, has 2 championships and a crap ton of wins. I don't know how many wins he has, but I can look it up actually. So yeah, ever since coming back in 2021, um, Larson has 26 Cup wins. Holds the records for most wins in the 5 car and had 10 wins in 2021. Um, Won the Coke 600, Southern 500, and Brickyard 400, all of which are a crown jewel, which are some of the biggest races. There's, I believe, um, let me think, 5 crown jewels. Hold on. So there are 4 quote unquote crown jewels in NASCAR, um, that are all um, the big 4 are Daytona, the Coke 600 at Charlotte, the Southern 500 at Darlington, and then the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis. A lot of people put Bristol in there. The Bristol night race is considered as one, and then only 4 drivers in NASCAR history have won at those tracks. Those being Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Gordon, Kevin Harvick, and Jimmy Johnson. And Larson just needs to win a Daytona 500, which is insane. And I think some people put a championship race as it too. Championship race can do a lot for you. Um, so yeah, your teammates Kyle back on Bowman. So your teammates Kyle Larson, and ever since coming back, in the same time you've been in that 48 car, and he had big shoes to fill when he came into that 48 car because um, the guy that was just in that 48 car was Jimmy Johnson, one that I just answered, one of the 4 drivers to win, um, one of the 4 drivers to win crown jewels, and Jimmy Johnson is tied with Dale Earnhardt and Richard Petty for 7 championships, which is the record. So, and then see, gonna go through all of his teammates. How many wins? Chase Elliott has 7 wins since 2021, but he has a championship, he has a championship, 5 wins in 2022. Had to miss the 2023 season due to a broken leg. I think he missed the start of 2024 as well with a broken leg, and then and then won. Oh no, he did win in 2024. He had to miss 2023. Um, Won at Texas, Atlanta, and Kansas. So realistically, it's only 5 years for Chase. Had to miss 2023 due to a broken leg. After snowboarding, and then Chase Elliott's starting to get back to who he was before that broken leg. That broken leg did a lot to him. Byron has 15 wins since 2021. 1 in 2021, 2 in 2022, 6 in 2023, and then 3 in 2024, then 3 in 2025. So that's right now what Bowman's having to face with only, I think he has the least out of all of them since 2021. Hold on. So yeah, Bowman only has 6. So, and then he just can't make it far in playoffs either. I think his best playoff is maybe around the 12th, probably. But the rest of them have made it to a championship, or won a championship, or at least was very close to it. So, and I just think Bowman hasn't had the firepower recently to keep up with them. But I'm gonna end it off here. That was episode 17. Um, Hope you guys have a good night. Um, I'll post this tomorrow morning with hopefully some other videos. But